Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. I am Colonel Asif. I am the Army and Air Advisor of Pakistan. On the behalf of Defence Wing of Pakistan High Commission London, I welcome you all on the eve of the 75th year of UK-Pakistan friendship and particularly defence engagement. It provides me an immense pleasure to be the Master of Ceremony on the eve of celebration of 75 years of diplomatic relationship. I am also humbled and honoured to be Master of the Ceremony, whereby we have Quetta Association, which is the association of old alumni of Commandant Staff College. So I'm also honoured for them to be here as part of this event. It also gives me immense pleasure that not only Quetta Association, but we do have very senior officers from Pakistan Armed Forces who have served, who are serving at this moment, and a few defence attaches who have already served in Pakistan, beside the well-accomplished community of Pakistan. So we will start the day. To start with the events, I would request all of you to please pay full attention towards the national anthems of both countries. So first of all, the national anthem of Pakistan. Now the national anthem of UK. Defence and Naval Advisor of Pakistan, based in London, for his welcome remarks.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Respected Sir, Major General Duncan Capps, Commandant, Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, Parliamentarian, distinguished guests from defence community, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. While I warmly welcome you on behalf of His Excellency, High Commissioner of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, at the same time, I feel greatly privileged and honoured with your presence. I especially stay appreciative to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst for venue and Quetta Association for their wholehearted participation. Let's be honest, we Navy officers do not make it up here that all, but very often. But thanks to the era of joyness and my position here in London as a defence advisor to Pakistan High Commissioner, that I am delivering the welcome note. Normally the naval officers take pride of being trained at Royal Navy institutions, but there was a case where the British royalty on board Pakistan Navy ship Tariq to observe and gain experience. It was in 1950 when then Her Majesty Pakistan Navy ship Tariq was in Malta and CNC Mediterranean Fleet Admiral Earl Mountbatten observed that Tariq was way ahead in all of Royal Navy maneuvers. And he expressed the desire that his nephew, then Lieutenant Mountbatten, who was Duke of Edinburgh, may be attached on board Tariq for a few days to remain under study of the professional command of the famous Tariq. It was during this time that Princess Elizabeth, who is now Queen, came on board to meet her husband and graciously thanked the commanding officer for introducing her husband to the final qualities of being a naval officer. Sir, today's gathering is indeed of immense significance as we are celebrating the 75 years of collaboration and cooperation which is of great value in our national history in general and armed forces in particular. The story begins much earlier than 1947 when Pakistan came into being. The National Army Museum in London continues to tell the stories of all those who served the regiments of British Indian Army much before 1947 and earned laurels such as Victoria Cross. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a long history together, be the part of alliance during Cold War, tough phases of war against terror, or peacekeeping operations under UN umbrella. With UK Armed Forces, our cooperation and bonds are solidifying with every passing day, and I am positive it will further get strengthened in coming times. The testimony of the cooperation can be gauged by the key leadership engagements, our continued participation in the bilateral exercises, availing training in esteemed military institutions, operating together in combined task forces, and more recently, support for government and armed forces in August last year for evacuation operations at a very short notice in order to achieve mutual objective of bringing peace and strengthen stability. Here, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of my team in the able guidance of Colonel Asif to make arrangements for this function and provide us all a platform to interact and celebrate the occasion. With this, now I request His Excellency High Commissioner Moazzam Ahmad Khan to address the forum, please.
Honorable Chief Guest, Major General Duncan Capps, Commandant, Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, Members of Parliament, Members of Quetta Association, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I feel immensely privileged to welcome all of you on behalf of the Pakistan High Commission and on my own behalf to the event marking 75 years of defense cooperation between Pakistan and the United Kingdom. It has been 75 years since Pakistan emerged on the map, 75 years since our two nations began their journey of friendship, and 70 years since Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, ascended the royal throne. This happy confluence of milestones offered us an opportunity to not only cherish and celebrate the great legacy of our friendship, but also introspect more deeply about the possibility and prospect this unique relationship has offered. The UK and Pakistan have indeed been good friends and close partners. Our partnership continues to transcend multiple domains and avenues and operate at multiple levels. With the passage of time, it has only gained greater traction and taken deeper root in our society. Today, Pakistan-UK relationship is cherished by a rich tapestry of people-to-people and international linkages. 1.6 million British nationals, some 2% of the British population, trace their origin to Pakistan and have a hyphenated British-Pakistani identity. This upwardly mobile, enterprising and hard-working community is playing its due role in the progress, development and security of global Britain, even as it plays an increasingly vital role in the progress and development of Pakistan. This community is the essential fulcrum that bridges and connects the two countries and animates their friendship. In these 7 decades, our economic, political, cultural, educational and technological relations have blossomed to a new heights. An enhanced strategic dialogue steers conversations and cooperation at the highest political level. The UK is today one of Pakistan's foremost trading partners, an important source of foreign direct investment and a key source of remittances. But perhaps one plank that stands out above the rest is our defense and security cooperation. It is only befitting that this landmark of 75 years of defense relations is commemorated in one of the most iconic global centers of excellence for military training and planning, the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. Pakistan and Sandhurst have a close and abiding linkages. Our best and brightest officers are graduates of this prestigious institution. Even as they have benefited from the training here, they have, I hope, also injected their own energy and compassion, vigor and vitality into the functioning of this great institution. And in the process, created the most endearing asset of all, the comradeship and friendship amongst our officers and institutions that transcends cultures and defies all restraints of time and space. What better proof of this than the wonderful Quetta Association, the British alumni of the Command and Staff College Quetta. I'm happy to see the association represented here today in such a good number. Your being here exemplifies in person what I have just articulated in words. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's military traditions are an amalgam of our great Islamic heritage and our brilliant British traditions. The Pakistan Military Academy Kaku mirrors the training paradigms here at Sandhurst. The Royal Air Force College, Cranwell, and the Royal Naval College, Dartmouth, have similarly welcomed Pakistani trainees and played an important role in supporting and building counterpart Pakistani institutions. The same ethos of loyalty to the country, of discipline, of commitment to professionalism animate our thinking. The same pursuit of excellence and quest for innovation drives us forward. Training is only one aspect of much broader spectrum of cooperation that exists between Pakistan and the United Kingdom in the domain of defense and security. We hold regular dialogues, we conduct exercises, our neighborship makes calls, and conduct joint drills. and we collaborate extensively in countering terrorism, capacity building, and intelligence sharing. Our two countries have also remained close partners in the war against terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, our legacy of defense cooperation did not begin in 1947. Though many people are not cognizant of this legacy predates the emergence of Pakistan as an independent state. Pre-partition, the British Indian Army recruited heavily from areas that now constitute Pakistan. Our forefathers fought shoulder to shoulder alongside British Army personnel during the two world wars. Attributed to them are many a heroic tale of sacrifice and valor, tales which are part of, unfortunately, a forgotten history. Not many people know that the first South Asian recipient of Victoria Cross, for example, was a soldier from Chakwal, a village in the northern Punjab. It is my strong conviction that this history, this legacy, needs to be revisited and reclaimed. Ladies and gentlemen, the past must not preclude us from introspecting about the future. The sun has dawned on a vastly different world. Brexit has transpired. A most distressing war has erupted in the eastern parts of Europe. And following the withdrawal of American and NATO troops, a new reality has emerged in Afghanistan. Within our region and across the international arena, the international rules-based architecture is going through stresses and strains. From cyberspace to outer space, and from climate change to food and health security, the new systemic threats and theaters have emerged. At a time when international solidarity was perhaps needed the most, we find it most wanted. Yet, if the pandemic has demonstrated anything, it is that the security is indivisible, that we are only as strong as the weakest link. Ladies and gentlemen, in these uncertain times, Pakistan stands for principle, for equality, for justice. For us, the articles of the UN Charter are not just articles in a rule book, but are in fact articles of faith. We believe in the principles of self-determination, of specific settlement of dispute, of respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty of states, and of equal and indivisible security for all. We strongly believe that being on the right side of history means being on the side of peace and not war. Pakistan was and will always remain peacemaker and bridge builder. It is our earnest hope that all conflicts are resolved through dialogue and diplomacy. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I would request Major General Majesty to represent Quetta Association and express his feelings.
Your Excellency, Commandant, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I think I've been brought in for light relief here in between two wonderful speeches, and I was going through crossing things out as things have been said already, but I'm going to say a little bit about the Quetta Association for those who don't know it, and then go off-piste, but I'll probably get myself in trouble, but I'll try not to. But the Quetta Association, for those who don't know, Quetta is the provincial capital of Baluchistan. It's the location of one of Pakistan's most revered institutions, the Commandant Staff College. The college was established in 1905 and moved to its current location in Quetta in 1907. Since partition, the British Army has sent 2 officers each year to attend the Commandant staff course, reducing this to 1 in 1991. The Quetta Association was formed on the initiative of the Pakistani Army and Air Advisor to London, Colonel Zubair Mahmood Hayat, in 2003. It is a small group of serving and retired British officers who've had the good fortune and privilege to attend the Staff College in Quetta. Ranks of its members range from major to several generals. The most senior was a student in 1970. Their shared experiences, albeit at different times, create an enduring bond between Pakistan and the United Kingdom. Wives, many having shared the experience of living in Quetta, are an important part of the association. The purpose of the association is to promote and encourage links with Pakistan. Members keep in touch with each other, the Pakistan High Commission in London, the Staff College in Quetta, and anyone else who has an interest in Quetta or Pakistan. We normally have a small lunch in London celebrating the anniversary of Pakistan each year. But fantastic to have so many people here back in Sandhurst. A very special year, as His Excellency said, the 75th anniversary for the formation of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And those are very special relationships for many of us here from the association. My godfather served in Quetta in 1936, and I remember as a schoolboy being briefed before I went into the sixth form. We had a half-decent cricketer going to appear in the sixth form. We probably wouldn't have any matches, and any problem winning our matches in the next year. A young Imran Khan arrived, and I suppose that's history. We certainly didn't lose any matches, and I did manage to bowl him out a couple of times, so I'm sure it was a complete fluke. As Sexy mentioned, it's also the platinum celebration of Her Majesty. And I was very privileged, it was a very sad occasion to be in Westminster Abbey on Tuesday for the service to celebrate the life of the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. The last time I actually saw him was at a Pakistan Association event in the Mansion House. And I was speaking to about half a dozen Pakistani friends, and he came through the crowd and said, "Why are you here? You're not a Pakistani." I mean, a sort of typical, very politically correct comment. Not to embarrass anybody, but where is Sharma? Sharma, please come here, out to the front. Sharma looked after us at the Quetta Association for 17 years and did a wonderful job. Probably many of you don't know that her father was General Hamid in the Pakistan Army. He was at Sandhurst here in 1932, and he was on the directing staff at Quetta in 1945. He also wrote a book on Field Marshal Lord Auchinleck, whose picture is up on the right at the back, and he worked on for his staff as well. And I think that small vignette just gives the picture of how close our countries are and how deep their friendships are. So to you and your family, John, thank you so much for all you've done for us. Thank you. I think we look back over the last 2 years. We've had COVID, as actually referenced Afghanistan. We have some challenges out in Ukraine at the moment. And it just shows how difficult the world is. But I think it needs all of us and all of our armed forces to work together and just try and make the world a better place.
Every year on the Quetta Association lunch, someone represents Pakistan from Commandant Staff College, Quetta. So we are privileged that we have a number of officers serving and retired who have been on the faculty of Commandant Staff College, Quetta. So now I would just take a lead and I would invite Major General retired Sahibzada Asfandiyar Patodi to pay or to say a few words while being the senior most Pakistani official present in the hall. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. It's heartwarming to see the turnout here. It's wonderful. To celebrate 75 years of the association between the United Kingdom and Pakistan is wonderful. But as as the High Commissioner mentioned earlier, I think we go back further in time. My father was a graduate here, 33. He fought in the Burma War. He commanded a battalion at Kohima. We became a great affiliation with the United Kingdom's military. My regiment is probably one of two regiments that is still called by its old name, Province Horse. He's up there on the left. So there are two of those paintings, by the way. There's one up here, right up there, and there's one in my mess. And unfortunately, the one in the mess is cut off at the knees because in one of the moves it got damaged. So, it's wonderful to see this one. So we have a tremendous association, and I must say I was always greatly impressed with the quality of officers that came to attend Staff College. I am probably one of the longest serving DSs for my sins at Staff College. I spent nearly 4 years there. Some of whom I even bullied, encouraged, cajoled to play polo with us. So thank you all for a great get-together here, and I hope this grows from strength to strength. And I wish the Quetta Association good fortune for the future, and look forward to many more such gatherings. Thank you very much.
I would request the chief guest of the event, General Capps, Commandant, Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, to come and express his words. Thank
you. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, generals, a huge welcome to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. Assalamu alaikum. Before I start, I should point out I'm a logistics officer and I understand the importance of sustainment and food, so I can keep this short. I couldn't be more delighted that we can hold this event here. And Your Excellency, your words are exactly right. Our histories go back a long way. And I, like you, and in my last job when I was responsible for community engagement, was really worried that some of that history is not well known. And I hope you'll see here and across the Academy, with the help of Justin Makalevsky and the National Army Museum, that we are trying to celebrate that and not allow that to be consigned to places where people will not see it. So that is why you will see us commemorating and celebrating that relationship here. Our relationship with the Pakistan Army dates back to 1952, when Officer Cadet Mir Abad Hassan of the 1st Pakistan Army, as it was then, was the first cadet to pass through the Academy. But of course, as it's been pointed out rightly today, our relationship dates back to the 30s and before that, when cadets would come here prior to the partition. Since then, we have had 93 officer cadets passed through the commissioning course here at Sandhurst. And the Pakistan officer cadets have always performed strongly, and they continue so to do. We have had 6 overseas cane or sword winners, the highest award given to the international cadet. It previously was the cane, it is now a sword. And we've had 2 overseas awards, that is to the international cadet, who gets the highest combined scores across all of the events at the Academy. And we currently have 5 Pakistan cadets on the commissioning course. 2 of those will commission at the end of this term, on the 14th of April, and that will leave us with 2 in the intermediate term, and then 1 in the junior term. And as ever, we're expecting 2 more to join at the beginning of next term, on the 8th of May. We are also hoping that we will have 2 female cadets, not the first Pakistan female cadets, but 2 more to come and join us on our short course, which will begin in May. So that relationship is as strong as it always has been. But there's been significant changes here at Sandhurst as we make the place modern, but also reflect the traditions that are here since 1952, when Mr. Hussain came through. But what has not changed here is the value that we attach to the representation from our international cadets, and particularly those from Pakistan. The importance of learning together, as His Excellency said, and those relationships that are forged here, sometimes in the mud and the rain of the Brecon Beacons, and the rather unpleasant weather that we have here in the United Kingdom, last a lifetime. And I think, sir, as you pointed out, they're an antidote to some of the problems that we face in the world today, because we will never operate alone. So this term, we have the highest number of international cadets that we have ever had at the Academy, 121 from 44 different countries. And that breadth of experience, that perspective, that different culture, those different experiences add so much to the experience, not just for the British cadets, but of course across all of the international and British cohort that are here. I've no doubt that it makes them not just better officers, but better leaders and better individuals. And as I said, those friendships, I'm sure, last a lifetime. We're also incredibly lucky to have had a permanent exchange officer instructor here, platoon commander from the Pakistan Army since July 2015. The current incumbent, Major Khan, or KJ as we call him, because that's the British way of making things simple for us, is a platoon commander in Normandy Company here in the Old College. He's got about 2 weeks before he gets his cadets through the beginning of that term, and then he will go on next term to take an intermediate platoon through their middle term, and then commission them at the end of the year. The Pakistan Army has always been a very regular competitor in the international pace sticking competition, and for those of you who don't know what that is where our drill instructors use the pace stick to measure out the pace on the square. They won 2 years ago, but last year, very unfortunately, due to the COVID and the British restrictions, they couldn't come out. As you know, the Bahrain team have got what you like to know as the Pakistan trophy, but we actually say is the international trophy. So we'd really like to see them back, and as I said earlier, I think if the Commandant and the PMA can come here with them, then that would be fantastic. So in closing, because I'm conscious you're all starving, I can hear stomachs rumbling everywhere. The relationship between armies, but particularly between our academies, and I know I would speak for the captain of the battalion at Naval College, Roger Redwin, and also the commandant at Cranwell, Chaz Dickens, who I met very recently. We celebrate those relationships and they go from strength to strength. And I think it's an enduring sign that you trust us with your young leaders in that formative time where they're developing their leadership skills. So thank you. And it's very much reinforced by the professionalism of those cadets that you sent here. And please may long it continue. And I very much look forward to the 80th and the 85th event being hosted here in this room. Your Excellency.
For your kind words and hope for the next, events which would come on the 80th, the 85th, and inshallah to be the 100th as well, if the days comes true. I would like to mention about National Army Museum. So the director of National Army Museum is around. He's been a really great help, and we are looking forward, and we are in the process of further exploring our shared history, which has not been fully documented. So they are likely to go to Pakistan, and they're going to work with army museums in Pakistan so that we can explore more possibilities of our shared history. So we will have a cake cutting just now to celebrate our event. And before the cake cutting, so we just made a small document. It has a history about our military institutions in Pakistan and in the UK as well. And it does also has some pictures of our previous bilateral engagements and even of the pace sticking competition which we had before this COVID. That's also included. And a few pictures of 23rd March parade, which is recently concluded in Pakistan. So first I will request His Excellency, my Commissioner, to come and present that magazine to the Commandant, Royal Military Academy Sandhurst.
The Cap's actual motto of the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst.
Sure.